Hey there guys, welcome to the meat shop. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make chorizo. Got a bunch of requests for it, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the chorizo. I'm going to show you the process of making the chorizo, and I'm going to share the recipe with you down below. So, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll make some chorizo. Alright guys, so this is going to be the chorizo video. Little bit about the chorizo before we get into it. It is a Spanish sausage originally, and when people think of chorizo in Spain, it's a little bit different than what you get in North America. In Spain, it's a coarsely chopped pork sausage, or coarsely ground pork sausage, and it's usually air dried, kind of fermented like what you'd call kind of salami over here. It's got nice big chunks of visible white fat, big coarse chunks of pork meat, and it's always seasoned with paprika of some sort, either a smoked paprika, Spanish sweet paprika. There's all kinds of different paprikas, which they call pimenton, I think, in Spanish. So it's got a paprika. It's usually got garlic, oregano, but it's kind of like bratwurst, or what's a better example? A wurst, I guess. Chorizo is kind of like wurst in the fact that chorizo doesn't mean like one specific recipe. There's a bunch of different types of air-dried chorizos over in Spain, and they all have different ingredients. They come in different shapes and sizes. I did make one of my own air-dried chorizo sausages. This isn't going to be a sausage on how to make air-dried or fermented chorizo. This is going to be a fresh chorizo, which is something you typically more see out of Mexico and North America and South America. The South America one's just a little bit different than what you get up in North America, but this one's also going to be all pork. But yeah, so just one last little bit. This is some of the fermented chorizo I made. So this stuff doesn't have to be in the fridge, it's air dried. We will make you guys a video on this stuff later on, but just so you can see, this is kind of you can see the coarse texture on this sausage here. That's kind of what a typical Spanish chorizo is, which is different than what we're going to make today. If you guys want to see this video, how to make a fermented chorizo one, maybe one day I'll have that done. It'll be in the link below, or if not, leave a comment and let me know. So that's kind of what a Spanish chorizo is. North American chorizo, though, it's usually kind of like a spicy pork sausage, heavily seasoned. It's got lots of the same seasonings that you would see in air-dried chorizo, Spanish chorizo. It's fresh. I'm going to make it out of pork. You can make it out of beef. We've made it out of wild game for guys in the fall. I usually add a little bit of pork or fat to it. What else can I tell you about it? Sometimes in the recipes, people will use vinegars or wines as substitutes for water. Today, I'm going to use a little bit of vinegar in ours. And they're super flavorful. They're spicy, and they got some herbs and garlic, so they're wicked good. And scrambled eggs. I'll fry them up in a pan and throw some cherry tomatoes in the pan after and eat them together. Really good. Yeah. If it doesn't have paprika, neat little fact for you, in Spain, it is called a chorizo blanco, white chorizo. This paprika is necessary. So that's kind of a little, I'm assuming, the Spanish, when they came over and they colonized the Americas or whatever, along with the French and the English, that's kind of where it came from. That's where it got its roots in North America. So the fresh chorizo. This one's going to be made out of all pork. I got 3 kilograms here, which is 6.5 pounds. I've mixed the spices up ahead of time. And what you'll need if you're doing this at home, you can buy some ground pork from your local butcher or pick some up at a wholesale store. You want to be using a fat ratio of at least 15% and up to 30%. Whatever you got, whatever you prefer is fine for this recipe. You can also blend in a little bit of beef, and like I said, if you like wild game, you got some wild game to burn up, you can use that as well, but I'd recommend putting a little bit of pork in it to moisten it up. What you'll need is you're going to need a sausage stuffer, something to mix on. We're going to do these into 29 32 millimeter natural hog casings. So going to be kind of a smoky or a bratwurst sized. So here's the spices for the chorizo, guys. It's going to go into, like I said, this pork. My pork is 80/20 here today, and I did a double ground pork. So first grind went through the 3/8 plate, which is 8 millimeters, and the second grind went through a 3 millimeter plate. Oh, what's that in inches? 3 millimeter plate, which is 3/16. So that was the second grind. So it's going to be a nice fine textured sausage in this fresh one. If you went, you can do a coarser grind if you want, but you might run into chunks of gristle and stuff. It's kind of not typical in a North American or Mexican chorizo. So we got that pork, 80/20 pork. Mine's a combination of trim off some pigs, a little bit of shoulder, squaring up the cuts off the pork loin and stuff like that is what this is made out of. 29-32 millimeter casings. And the recipe for you. So 3 kgs, 6.5 pounds. I'm using 18 grams of salt per kilogram, 3 grams of pepper per kilogram, 8 grams of paprika per kilogram, and that's the main spice, like I said earlier in chorizo. And there's a bunch of different ones, different flavors of paprika. You got a Hungarian paprika, Spanish paprika, sweet Spanish paprika, smoked Spanish paprika, hot Spanish paprika. So it's whatever you want. If you want a sweet one, use the sweet. If you want just generic paprika flavor, you can get generic paprika clubhouse seasonings or from your local spice store. If you want a smoky flavored one, put some smoked paprika in there. But it's the main flavor at 8 grams per kilogram. Then we have garlic, which is another one you see in most chorizos. You usually see paprika, garlic, oregano in pretty much all of them. So we have garlic at 4.5 kilograms, 4.5 grams per kilogram, 1 gram of oregano per kilogram, 4 grams of cayenne per kilogram, because I want mine just a little bit spicy. Then we have, I'm going to do vinegar at 10 milliliters or 10 grams per kilogram. Then I have binder at 90 grams per kilogram. Sorry, 10 grams per kilogram. I use soy protein. You can use whey protein, all those different proteins, binders, which is in my how to make a sausage video. And we're going to do ice or cold water at 90 milliliters or 90 grams per kilogram. You want a total of 100 milliliters or grams of liquid per kilogram. And I got 10 of vinegar, so we're going to top it up with 90 of water to get 100. So that's the recipe, and that'll be down below. And I got that all pre-mixed up here. You can see that nice red color from the cayenne and the paprika. I'm using just regular paprika. I'm not using sweet or smoked. And I'll throw that on there. It's pretty heavily seasoned sausage compared to some of the other ones. You got quite a bit of garlic, you got quite a bit of cayenne, you got quite a bit of paprika. But that's what makes it so good. And I'm going to measure out my water and vinegar, 90 milliliters. Ooh, on the nose. See if I can do it again. All right. 90 liters per kilogram. Okay, so I'm going to add this water in, guys, water and vinegar. And I got my gloves, and I'm going to mix it up till it gets sufficiently sticky, and that's called protein extraction. So you want to get protein extraction out of this, and that will prevent your sausages, if you've ever had a crumbly batch of sausage at home, or it doesn't really fill up the sausage casing nice after it's cooked and you find the sausage casing is tough, it doesn't have that nice snap, that's because you probably didn't get enough protein extraction. What I'm shooting for is this stuff to stick to my gloves. And I'll show you guys that when I'm done mixing. But you can see that paprika has turned this nice pink pork into that kind of beautiful red chorizo color already. And also, guys, this is just kind of a baseline. There's I've seen chorizo recipes. It's a recipe, or it's one of those sausages that the chefs have got a hold of, and there's like 1,000 different recipes. red wine. Instead of vinegar, yeah, you guys can use red wine or water. I've seen some people use chicken broth, pork broth, all that stuff. But this is just a base, kind of stereotypical, I guess. You would get, if I serve this to anybody and they'd had chorizo before, they would know it's chorizo. But you can add, I've seen people add fennel, I've seen people add chilies, I've seen people add jalapenos and all sorts of things, allspice and all that stuff. But give this one a go, see what you'll, it's a pretty good recipe. We sell quite a bit of it in the store. Give it a go, and then I always forget to mention this, but mix this up real good till you get the protein extraction, and then take yourself a little patty and test this recipe out before you commit a big batch of meat to it. And if you want it spicier, throw some chili peppers in there, or chili flakes, or more cayenne, or whatever. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna mix this and then we'll stuff next. Okay, guys, so I've been mixing this for kind of about 10 minutes or whatever. I should mention, when you add vinegar to things, the vinegar denatures the ends of the meat fibers where the protein is, the protein. So you want to make sure, if you put a bunch of vinegar in, you want to make sure you really mix thoroughly to ensure that protein extraction still happens. But at 10 milliliters per kilogram, it's really not going to affect it that bad. But basically, a good test is you grab a handful of, you guys have seen this before, sticks to your fingers real good. That's when the protein extraction has happened. Like I said, take a little bit of this, fry it up, make sure you like it. I know the recipe, so I'm going to load it in the stuffer, and then we'll stuff them into the 29 32 millimeter casings. I guess I should show you, in case this is the first video you guys have watched, but when you're loading up the sausage stuffer, take a handful. You guys have seen me do this in other videos. If you watch the other videos, just take a good handful, oops, and launch it in there and really pack it down. That's going to help prevent air pockets. So I'll do the rest of this, and then we'll stuff them. All right, guys, I got that all loaded in there, and I'm going to do these into 29 32 millimeter casings like I mentioned. You could also do them into collagen casings if you wanted to, 22 millimeter little breakfast sausage sized chorizos, or whatever size you want, really. This one is a fresh sausage though, so if you wanted to, I have smoked these before, and they're okay smoked. I do like them as a fresh sausage better, but if you wanted to smoke them, you have to add 3 grams of sodium, or cure number 1, sodium nitrite, with a cure accelerator, and you would have to take 3 grams of salt off the recipe I got below, if you wanted to smoke them. But these are the 29 32 millimeter casings, and what I'm going to do now, what I'm struggling with, is to get it open, and I'll get it loaded with water. So these guys, I basically just put in some room temperature water right before I got the video started, so it's about 20 minutes, half hour, and just get a bit of water in the casing, and it's going to flush itself. The inside of the whatever amount of salt is left, get the horn wet, it's going to flush whatever amount of salt is left out of the inside of the casing and help it slide onto the horn nice and quick, and then we'll be ready to stuff. There we go. I'll get this loaded for you guys. Okay, I should have more than enough on the horn to do it, and if you can see that, guys, I usually leave this little bit hang here. Some people tie them. I don't really see the need for it. Crank it down until the first little bit comes out, but what I do is I kind of use what I call the TV remote channel, like you're changing channels. Put a couple fingers underneath and one hand on top, and the firmness controls the pressure. So I'll just squeeze till that first little bit comes out. You guys can see that, and then it starts to back up on the horn, and then you don't have to worry about it sliding out the end of your casing. Then what you do every so often is you periodically check and make sure you can pinch about 1/4 of the way through. You want to be able to pinch right through real easily, because then your sausage casings are not full enough and they will be tough. And you don't want to be able to not pinch at all. You don't want it to be really firm, because then you're going to have a hard time linking them when we're done stuffing. And I wish you guys could smell these. The vinegar and oregano and paprika. I hope you guys make these. Man, those look good. That nice red color. Yum. I think that's why chorizo sells so good in the stores. It catches your eye. Pinch every once in a while. I got a little bit of air backing up on the horn. So what you guys can do is you can just take your thumbnail and score that sausage casing. I'm not sure if you guys were able to see that, but that air got out and it sucked right back up to the horn there. And that was the end of it anyways. Then I just pull a little off, about an inch there. As you can see that, here's the end of the horn. There's the end of the sausage. Just give myself a little bit to play with. And I nip it off. Throw this back in the water. Now, if you were done here, guys, what you could do with all your casings, I get this question quite a bit, so I should try answering it more often, is you could take these casings and you could pat them real dry with a towel. Or what I do is I just hang them up to dry right now, and they'll drip for about an hour. Then you want to put, you know, like I got a big handful here, so I'd put at least this much or double this amount of salt on them in a bag, and they're good in the fridge for a year and a half. But hopefully you're making more sausage than that and they don't sit in there for a year and a half. But I'll get this out of the way and we'll link them. Okay, here's our pile of chorizo, smelling and looking good. And what I do to link, guys, is I find that little end, see that little flopping guy there, find him, and I pinch right at the end. Then whatever size you want, I'm probably gonna do about whatever, 4-inch little, and I give 3 spins towards myself, go 4 inches, pinch again, then take this hand, find that spot, go 4 inches again, pinch 3/4 of the way through, 1, 2, 3. So you're always twisting 3 times towards yourself. 4 inches, hold that spot, 4 inches, pinch towards yourself, 1, 2, 3. You're doing every other one towards yourself, 1, 2, 3 times. Pinch, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you guys do find that they're real, like, it's an art. You have to do this. It's just a matter of repetition. You just got to do it a couple times. But if you find they are really firm, what you can do is you can kind of massage them, and then you'll be able to pinch through if you need. Sometimes they're just too full and you're going to end up breaking them, but massage it and twist. 4 inches, 4 inches, massage it if you need, twist. Twist. There we go, guys. 4 inches. Twist. 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 Then you guys will be able to cut in between these joints. You don't have to let them marinate overnight or anything like that. You see me, I mix the spices up, and 10 minutes later we were stuffing sausage, so you don't have to do that. But you can, if you want, you can throw these in a tote in the fridge overnight and let those spices penetrate through and stuff like that. No harm in that, so long as you use a nice fresh pork and it's going into the fridge between 0 and 5 degrees Celsius or 32 and 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And then the next day you could come and you just nip between them and you have yourself some fresh chorizos. Don't those guys look good? Yeah, on the grill, game day, whatever you're into, holiday, tacos, burritos, refried beans, salads, pastas, eggs, chorizos. What else am I missing? If I've missed anything, leave me a comment down below, guys, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. But yeah, I'm just gonna nip all these between the links. And then what I will do, because I vacuum package all mine, I will put them in the freezer for kind of 3-4 hours until they become firm. And that was the end one, guys. And see, you can't even tell the end one is hardly any different than these ones. You don't really need to tie it off. But I'm going to put them in the freezer for about 4 hours, 3-4 hours until they become firm, and then I'll vacuum package them in 1-pound packs, which is about 4 of those sausages. So how do those guys look? Can you see them good? Chorizos. Easy peasy, super flavorful sausages. So I hope you guys enjoyed the chorizo sausage. I hope you guys give the recipe a go and let me know what you think. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we're going to make more videos like this at your request in the future. So thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, take care. Enjoy some chorizo.